This is the most Baywatch appropriate ensemble I could find in my closet. I know it's not even close, but yeah, I'm going with it. And I think my boobs are even bigger than the ones in the girls in the movie, so you're welcome. So Baywatch the movie is the cinematic version of the popular, I guess, TV show from the 90s, I believe. It stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Zac Efron. I never really saw the show when it was on TV. I did catch a couple episodes of Baywatch Hawaii though, because it was filmed and set in Hawaii. But other than that, not really familiar with the show except what everybody else knows. Bunch of beautiful people running around the beach in slow motion. Now, I feel like Baywatch the movie had a really great opportunity to kind of bring a little twist to what was known from the TV show in the past, and kind of similar to what 21 Jump Street and Charlie's Angels did, and maybe add a little fun twist to something that was originally pretty cheesy and pretty lame. But the problem that Baywatch the movie has is that it cannot really decide which way it wants to go. I was actually very surprised to find out that Baywatch the movie pretty much keeps it on the straight and narrow. It had, to me, it's a missed opportunity where it could have really made fun of itself, gone a little meta, if you will, on the whole Baywatch lore from the 90s. But it takes itself kind of seriously, and it's actually more of a buddy cop action type of movie than it is a silly comedy, which is not quite how the promotional materials and the trailers showed it to be. So I was kind of surprised by that, and that's fine if it had been effective in that way and really been dedicated to that execution. But that's where it kind of loses itself. The action scenes and the action storyline, it's not enough to really capture you and keep your attention, let's say. The storyline involves around this rich club owner who wants to buy up the properties around the shoreline and be able to sell her drugs. I mean, it's very simple. It's like a TV episode of the week kind of storyline. When it does dip into the comedy milieu, if you will, it's just a lot of dick jokes, very immature, and it just feels like it could have done a little better. Again, I said this about Snatched, where it's a rated R movie and it could have taken a lot more chances and more risks and resulting in funnier material. And Baywatch is kind of along the same line. It's an R-rated movie and they don't really take full advantage of that R rating and what they're able to do with that R rating. So that was a lost opportunity there. Another actors, you know, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he's always fun to watch, but he kind of, I feel like he kind of phones it in this performance. He's not really showing anything extra charismatic than I mean, it's The Rock. He's gonna be charismatic, he's gonna be fun no matter what. I just feel like he's not having as much fun as he did, let's say, in Central Intelligence or the Fast and the Furious movies. It just kind of feels like he's just getting the paycheck on this one. And Zac Efron, man, this guy, man, his body is just straight out of a comic book. He's just bam, 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 bam. He's just ripped everywhere. And you know what? I've always told my wife that if I had to be with a guy, it would be Jean-Claude Van Damme. And now that I think about it, I don't think she ever asked me that question, but I offered her that information anyway. But after seeing Baywatch, I gotta consider Zac Efron. Maybe he might have the edge over the muscles from Brussels. So good for you, man. You look ripped. But Zac Efron, again, he's really good in comedies. We've seen him in Neighbors, Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. He doesn't really bring anything beyond his normal performance here as well. Then the women, they're all perfectly fine. They all do their job, and you get the one chubby guy who's kind of different comic relief. And to their credit, they never really made fun of his body type per se. I mean, yeah, there were a few pokes at him here and there, but more or less, he played it pretty straight too. And you know, he's a very entertaining character. But the story, again, it does take itself a little too seriously. And there was one scene where Zac Efron, you know, he's kind of this asshole guy, very cocky, and then he turns it around and goes, "Hey, well, I'll be part of your team." And at that moment, I realized this is the perfect movie for Tom Cruise back in the 80s. This is the epitome of every Tom Cruise 80s movie where he starts off as some cocky asshole, then something happens, and then he changes his mind and becomes good. And that's exactly what happens in Baywatch, where Zac Efron plays the same kind of character, and then from that point on, I could totally just imagine that's a Tom Cruise performance right there. Is that a bad thing? No, not necessarily, but I just couldn't get that out of my head after that. And the woman who played the villain, I believe her name is Priyanka Chopra. I've watched a few episodes of Quantico, the TV show where she's the lead, and she's okay, she's serviceable here. She could have chosen the option to really go over the top in this type of film, but I think the film as in general, since it took on a more serious tone than what was anticipated, she brought her performance down a notch a little bit. So in the end, kind of bland, but you know, she was okay. So overall, Baywatch the movie, it's fun in a kind of a throwaway kind of way. It's a lot more serious than I thought it would be. There are still a few comedic moments here and there, but not as much as I thought there would be. But it's a serviceable action comedy, let's say. Will it be a big hit at the box office? Maybe. It's the typical kind of escapist, summer fun type of movie that people are looking for during this summer month. So maybe, I don't know. I have no control over that. But personally, I thought it could have been a lot more fun. It could have made a little more fun of itself, let's say. So Baywatch for me gets a 6 out of 10. Thanks again so much for watching. I will be here every week this summer, so come back to my channel next week and please comment on my video below. Let me know what you thought of Baywatch the movie, and also if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to my channel, MC on Film. Do it now.